G'day guys, how are we going? Well, here we are, back again, another Wednesday night live. So you're pretty keen to chat with you guys tonight, but tonight's topic is four drive tips and tricks and who's got right of way on the four drive tracks, those going up or those going down. Now, this is a pretty hot topic that's come up. Well, it comes up all the time, but anyway, it just come up pretty recently. So we'll get into this in a lot of detail as we go forward. But in case you're just tuning in tonight for the first time, Tim Bates is my name. Tim Bates Four Drive Ventures is my YouTube channel. Film all my tips and all my travels where I go and provide like tips and hints along the way. So check that out if you want to know a bit more about what my channel's all about. There already is a few guys already on tonight. Thumbs up. Looks like a few people can hear what's going on here, and that's always good. Damien, Bruce, how you going, guys? Sean, Leroy, how you going, mate? In COVID Central, COVID hotspot. I'm sure it's pretty hot down there at the moment, mate. Biggles and Trent, Ross, how you going there, guys? Thanks very much. Oz Trotto. Thanks very much for coming in tonight. Righto, let's get into this. So where this topic's come up is some of my recent full drive videos that I've posted onto my channel there. Particularly the Walhalla to Lacolla, a lot of steep tracks where we're going up and going down. And a lot of people have asked that question, and look, like I say, I get asked this a fair bit in plenty of other times as well, but just certainly of recent. So I thought, well, let's have a chat about this and let's just put it out there. But I've had a lot of people ask me, with those sort of tracks you're driving, what happens if you've got another vehicle coming the other way? Who's going to give way? Are you going to give way while you're going down, or do you have to give way coming up? What's the go there? Well, this is my take on it right now. This is what I've been taught and certainly learned and heard for many years that I've been full driving, and I've always gone on the view that those coming down a track have right of way over those coming up. Now, before we all jump on the bandwagon, all right, let's just because I know there's a few people saying the other way around, so we'll get into this. But the reason why I've been come up with that way, and certainly the reason why I've been told that way, because those coming down a track, steep, might be steep, rocky track, whatever, and you've got some vehicles coming towards you, well, it's a lot harder, I think, for that vehicle to now come to a stop. I'm coming down the hill, now got to come to a stop and got to throw it into reverse and then reverse back up the track to however that far is, to find a spot so, that group coming up the hill can get around and keep going. Now, where this sort of came about too, like I said, there was quite a few comments, particularly in that second part of my Walhalla to Lacolla video, and a lot of people were asking me, what is the go there? And that was my reply to someone who did ask me that very question, who has got right away. And then I had another guy that replied back, very respectfully done. He even said, very respectfully disagree with what you say. And look, and that's all fine. Look, I love everyone's point of view. But his view was it's the other way around. So, and this is what he's been taught in the full drive clubs, that he's been involved with over the years, and the way they've sort of taught him that those vehicles coming up the hill have right of way over those coming down. And he went on to explain his reasoning for that. And he's saying that those vehicles that are coming up, it's a lot harder for them to get started again. If they come to a stop, it's a lot harder for them to get started again, and then got to take off, up that track. And I thought, well, okay, that's fine to say that, fair, valid point there. But then on the flip side of that is, okay, you got a vehicle coming down a hill, so that vehicle now's got to stop, right? So how is it any easier or harder for that vehicle now coming down the hill, because he's now got to give way to that one coming up, apparently. He's got to give way. So how is it any easier or harder for that one now to throw it into reverse, jump on the clutch, ride the clutch, and reverse it back up the hill to 5, 10, 15, 20, 50 metres, whatever it is, to try and find a clearing on the side of the track. So, that's sort of my view on it. And the thing is, it's not like when we drive on the road, when you get your license, the rules and regulations are written in print, and you've got to go for your license, you've got to pass your learners, you've got to go through the tests, and, you've got to pass all that, give way, stop, all that sort of stuff's in law. But where is it that says that this is what you must do out in the full drive tracks? And I don't know if I totally agree with it. Even with my initial point, with those coming down, I don't know if I necessarily agree with the ones coming down the hill should have right away over those coming up either. We've got enough road rage going on the roads without it happening in the damn bush. So my view on this is, and before I get into my view, because it's going to be pretty all right, we'll touch with a few of you guys here. What's going on here? Mark, here you go there, mate. Thanks so much for coming in. Craig, too. Thanks so much, mate, for coming in tonight. Ash, thanks very much for dropping in. Big Alls, here you go there, mate. Whoever has the biggest bull... Yeah, well, that's not always the case either, mate. I can tell you now. We don't want that sort of stuff going on. So anyway, I'll get into what I think is sort of the go with so these four drive tracks and a few tips and tricks we're going to cover with this. So I think I don't think there should be any way, there shouldn't be any way that says that, one way must give way over the other, because it just fair income doesn't work like that. It depends on what the track is, what the terrain is like. It just fair income doesn't work like that. And the last thing you need is someone who's got in their mind here thinking, well, I'm coming up the hill, I've got right away, that one coming down the hill's just got to get out of my road. It just fair income doesn't work like that. And for me, particularly when we're talking four drive tracks, it can happen down the road as well. But when we're talking four drive tracks, steep, nasty tracks, that's got danger written all over it. And I've never, ever come across a situation where anyone's ever sort of had that attitude. So it's weird that people now asking this question, who's got right away over the other, because that's what I sort of think. You just got to make it up at the time. If you, for example, you take that part 2 of that video I'm talking about, where we're going down Burgoyne track, especially that Burgoyne West, the west side of Burgoyne track, where we're going down that really steep, long section. That section's probably, I don't know, by the time that really starts going down, it's probably the best part of, 800, 900 metres before you get to the bottom. And it's a fair income one-way track. So what are you going to do there? And you can't take that mindset into account that, well, I'm coming up or I'm coming down, you just got to get in the road, because the fair income ain't going to work, particularly on a track like that. So if you come across, vehicle on that one, and look, I've done that west side stacks of times, and at this point, I've never, ever come across a vehicle coming the other way. So in a time like that, on a track like that, I think you just have to stop fair income. You have to get out of your four drives, go and have a chat with the convoy in front, because you're going to be on different radio channels. Go and have a chat with the convoy in front and try and nut out a bit of a plan. What are you going to do here? Because there's just absolutely no way on that track where you can get two vehicles to get past each other. So there's that one there. And the other one too is probably another good idea. Maybe carry your handheld radio, and because you've got your UHF radio, that's inside your full drive, and that's on the channel, locked on the channel that you guys are having a chat to, just between your conversation, between your convoy. But you could probably good idea to have one of these just sitting on the seat and run this on scan, and just run on scan, and you might pick up a convoy, coming the other way that you can just quickly jump into, and you might pick up their conversation and just hear what they've got to say and, which way they're going. And then you can probably chat to them before they get maybe too far up the track, towards, where you guys are coming down. So let's have a chat with some of you guys. What do you reckon? Sean, conditions, common sense. I think steep should always give way to car coming down. Well, they're there too, but, again, you just have to sort of make it up. Old blokes going there, having seen the amount of traffic on some of the remote tracks, I'm surprised that there aren't a number of restrictions at peak times. It's pretty hard to probably put restrictions on it. I don't quite know how that would sort of work. But, sort of see your point going on there. Michael, it's going there. How are you going? Are you going good? Thanks, mate. People coming up, I think. See? Look, and I'm respecting all your guys' views here, 100% respect any opinions you guys have got, certainly on this topic, because it is a big topic, and as we can see, there's a stack of comments coming through on it for sure, and there's certainly some mixed views there. Bosto, it's going down pretty new to the whole full driving caper. I want a blue rag from Talbotville and back to North Basalt, and on Sunday, I'm not sure about how you did that on Sunday, because Basalt... blue rag shut at the moment. Scanning the air, came back down and then going up. Just got to be very careful in those sort of areas, pretty up around there. Tom, it's going there, mate. I think whoever has the bigger convoy is right away. Well, that too sometimes, and that's certainly sometimes, the way I sort of work. If I'm in a convoy, might be only 1, 2 or 3 vehicles behind me. the first thing I do, as soon as I see a vehicle coming the other way, whether it's, close by or down the distance or whatever, and that was the other thing that guy said, the one that said right away is coming up, because he said those coming down can generally see a lot further. Well, that's sort of two ways either way. You can certainly see a long way coming up, but as soon as I see a vehicle coming towards me, I'm straight away jumping for a spot, and I'm straight away on my UHF, jumping back to, the guys in my convoy and just telling them straight away, got vehicles and, can you guys grab a spot? And then, you make it up from there. And 9 times out of 10, I find that the vehicles when I come across another vehicle coming the other way, they're generally straight away, trying to find a spot as well. So, I don't really know. I don't know about this locking it in as those going down or those coming up have right away, because fair dinkum, I reckon the best way to deal with this sort of situation, this sort of topic, is fair dinkum, just make it up at the time. It's going to be a lot friendlier on the tracks. No one's going to get agitated. No one's going to get angry about, because someone hasn't given way to the other. Because as I say, this rule is fair dinkum not locked in paper. It's not in print. So it's just something that, clubs, and I'm not bagging anyone, but because I learned from full drive clubs years ago, and that's how I sort of learned too. So there's no one way or the other here. So I think we just got to make it up and make it up at the time, and depending on what the track is and how steep it is, and all that sort of stuff. So, but there's certainly some great feedback coming through here. What's going on there, John? I totally agree with what you've said. Makes sense, but always told right away is works out like you've said. Well, yeah, just got to make it up as you go there, certainly, mate. Paul, checking in from Canberra, mate. Thanks very much for coming in tonight, mate, and from all the way from there at Canberra. Greatly appreciate that. Gary Graham, I reckon I'm with you on this issue. Common sense must be the golden rule, and that's the thing too. When you talk about common sense, it's going to be a lot peaceful sort of situation, and we're not dealing with any angry people then, and a lot friendlier, and that's what we all want. We're all out there for a common reason. We're all out there to go out there and enjoy ourselves and have a cracking time on the tracks, and you want to be a friendly time. When you're passing other vehicles on the track. And the other thing too is, when you do get another vehicle come the other way, particularly if you're the one that's pulled over, wind your window down and have a chat with that convoy as they come through, so you can find out how many vehicles that they've got, because, you haven't got radio contact with this other group. So it's a bit hard. So it's a good idea to find out how many vehicles they've got, and that leading vehicle can, he can tell you, oh yeah, I've got 5, 6, 7, whatever. And then, then you know how many vehicles that you've got to go, got to wait there for. But something else I certainly do with my convoy, if I'm with a group, is I generally get the last one, regardless of what I've told, the leading convoy of the group coming up. I always get my last one just to stop at that, whatever the first vehicle is of the group coming up or down, whatever it is. I always get them to stop and just say, okay, I'm the last vehicle. And then they know 100% that there's no other vehicles, as far as my group goes, no other vehicles from my group coming towards them or going up the track towards them. And that's, the best way, keep good communications, and then everyone's going to be in a happy place, I reckon. So, there's some certainly good things there. Let's go there, Mark. You can't lock in either way. Yeah, assessment. Look spot on there, mate. Yeah, I don't think you can. If it's safe to pass, it's always a safer option. Yeah, look, absolutely right there. So, I think that's the way this certainly needs to go. Paul, what's going there? Give my son Lucas. There you go there, Lucas. There you go there, mate. Glad you dropped in there tonight, mate. Appreciate that. Anthony Gibbons from the UK. Thanks very much from the UK. Hopefully it's going right over there. And I wonder if you have these sort of issues or topics that we're talking about with any of the tracks you're doing over there in the UK, mate. Because it's certainly a big topic over here. And it's so this is why we're having a chat about it tonight. Sean, I wish you had seen a Mount skiing a few years back. Chaos in the snow, people trying to pass on the outsides there. Getting stuck, too many cars, in my opinion. Look, snow time's certainly a big issue on especially some of the main roads, because you generally find there's only one track gets made, and one track for going up and one track for coming down. So you've got to be super careful, particularly going around corners, because you've got both vehicles are going to be in those same snow tracks. So you've got to be really careful when you're getting out there in the snow. Chuck Berry, common sense is always the way to go. Yeah, absolutely, mate. Greatly appreciate that. And Yep, definitely way to go. Communications king with High Country. Thanks very much, guys. Yeah. So there you go. Well, I think we're in Asia. Road Travels uses, what's that, Gary? Principle, yield over forgive. Yep, we should always practice it on our tracks. Absolutely. Yeah, look, there's some good replies coming out of this, which is bloody good. Really appreciate all the feedback going on here. But look, this is why one reason why I did touch on this topic tonight, because it's been a hot topic and a lot of questions being asked just from those last couple of videos that I did, while held at Lacola, because we did cover some really steep country. And a lot of people have been asking, what are you going to do if a vehicle comes the other way? And so, yeah, so I thought we'll have a chat about this tonight. It's John. What's going there, mate? Sean J. Come to think about it, it's only times we saw chaos was in the old days on Mount Skeen. Yeah, I've seen some chaos on Mount Skeen in some of the trips I've done up there with some of the groups that I've been with. But it can be a bit like that. Stuart, need to keep it simple and all work together on the tracks at the same time. Percentage, will always think they own a track. Yeah, I've like I said earlier on in this, I've not come across that where you just get some of the things bugger it. I've been taught that I've got right away coming up the hill. I'm just going to keep going regardless, or coming down, whatever it is. I haven't really ever come across that, so which is probably a good thing, because like I said, that's Fennec and just got danger written all over it. So good thing people are certainly thinking about it, and I reckon that's definitely the way to go. Getting dirty, full before what's going there. Also, when it comes to motorbikes coming behind, absolutely. When it comes to motorbikes, whether they're coming behind or even coming up the track, I always give way to motorbikes regardless, because they're only narrow, they can zip past you really quickly and then they're gone. And so I always give way to them as best as I can, regardless whether they're coming up or coming down, and just let them get past. Bang, they're gone, they're on their way, and then they're out of your road. So yeah, motorbikes are certainly one thing. Give them a bit of room. Been an old motorbiker of my time, that's for sure. Lights on when on the bush and tracks at all time. Yeah, absolutely. Look, and then you can see vehicles come the way. I generally got parkers or something going on my bull bar there during the day, so you can certainly spot a flickering light through the trees. It's a long way off if it's a bit dark, whatever. But some cars are sort of blend in. But if you got some lights on, certainly a top idea. Have some parkers on or headlights on, top idea for sure. Dylan, let's go, mate. Would you recommend chopping the GU or where this is? I was thinking about doing this maybe a bit earlier on this year, but at this stage, mate, I'm going to keep it as it is. I love it as a wagon, so we'll leave it as it is for the moment, and see what happens a bit later on down the track. But just never know. Wilbur, I just got my license. What's the best four-wheel drive I could get for around 20k mark? Well, I suppose that's $1 million question with that one, mate. And I'm not just going to say just go and buy a Nissan, because that's just not obviously the ideal. Whatever, you got to get whatever's going to suit. So, it depends whether you're a family man or you got kids or you use it for work or that sort of thing. If you need a dual cab with a ute in the back, really got to weigh it up. For 20 grand, if you're looking at a second-hand vehicle, you can certainly get yourself, something pretty decent in that sort of range mark. So, there's a pretty wide spectrum to have a look at in that 20k mark. But there's probably a couple of things you want to think about, what you're going to actually use it for and how often you're going to get out, I suppose. We'll just take this last one here. Chuck Berry, what's going on? I wouldn't want to stop, have to start again halfway up Hearn Spur. Well, there's a perfect example track. Hearn Spur, some of the nasty sections on that, particularly the last couple before you get the top, if you're coming up from the river. There's some really steep sections on that. Now, you imagine if you someone took that attitude on there. Well, I'm coming up, well, I'm just going to keep going, or I'm coming down, I'm just going to keep going. Well, that's fitting and got danger written all over it. So I think the best consensus here is that, keep common sense and, just fair income, make it up at the time, and, and you'll get a good result, not only for your group, but your group coming towards you, and everyone can get on and have happy days out there in the full drive tracks. So there you go, guys. That's the topic for tonight. If you've got any other topics, you'd like to sort of chat about, chuck them in the comments down below, because I'm always looking for things to have a chat with you guys about, but I thought this one was a cracker tonight. So, yeah, it's been an absolute beauty. And I thank all you guys there for dropping in tonight. Thanks very much again for coming and supporting the channel and having a chat. Really greatly appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next week when I come up with another topic. Fair idea what that's going to be, but I won't tell you what that is just right now. So you guys have a good week, good weekend, and we'll catch you a bit later on. See you guys. Hooroo. Down here.